In the history of cinema, there have been a few films which have managed to capture the sublime and have, in their short run times, distilled the beauty of the human spirit. This isn't one of those films. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews, and me, Rob. Today I'm taking a look at the infamous, trend-setting roughie, The Defilers, from 1965. This film comes to us from legendary exploitation producer David F. Friedman and nearly as legendary director Lee Frost. This is an early entry roughie. It came out about a year after the first Olga film, White Slave to Chinatown, but it was still a few years before the truly twisted roughies from Roberta and Michael Finlay. If you're new to the channel, Roughie is a violent and kinky S&M film. They replaced the cute and innocent nudie cuties of the very late 1950s and early 1960s. But that's enough about history, let's talk about the movie. We open with our two main characters, Carl and Jamison, and they pick up a few girls and take them to the beach for a little beach party / grab-ass session. And that's all pretty fun, but somehow Carl is down. His dad, you see, wants him to get a job, but Carl is a hedonist, and he's not interested in working, he's only interested in kicks. We'll soon find out his kicks are pretty misogynistic and pretty violent. The boys each take a girl to a darker corner of the beach for a little makeout session, leaving behind two other girls who decide to go skinny dipping.
Well, it looks like everybody left us. Let's go skinny dipping. What do you say? What's that? You go swimming without your clothes on.
The next day, we're introduced to Jane, a fresh arrival in Hollywood. Oh, hey, check it out. That's Jean Harlow's signature. If you want to learn a little bit about her, check out one of my pre-code film reviews. Back with the boys, Carl shows one of his dates his dungeon, but she's not the kind of girl who wants to get down and dirty in a down and dirty kind of place. But Carl's not in the asking mood. But somehow this rather unconventional pickup method puts her in the mood.
Don't stop.
The next day, the boys hit up their dealer for a reefer connection, and she turns out to be the landlady of Jane. Our two stories have hooked up. Later that evening, Carl and Jamison are talking, and Carl says that he's really bored and he wants some kicks, and they bounce around a few ideas, but Carl eventually decides he wants to kidnap someone and keep them as a prisoner in his dungeon. Jamison tries to convince him this is way too dangerous, they can go to jail, blah blah blah, but Carl eventually wins the argument. I wonder who they're gonna kidnap. But that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. The production here really is a step above what we normally see of films of this type from this era. I mean, if you watch an Olga film, you'll see that they, basically take place in one location and they're all Moss films. But this film, it has lots of locations, even some outside locations, and it has synced dialogue. This is like a real movie. And like a real movie, the cinematography is actually pretty good here. There's some really creative and fun camera angles, way better and more interesting, than that sort of Doris Wishman style of randomly focusing on a lamp. As a nudie film, well, it's not wall-to-wall skin, but it's not too bad either. The women are all quite attractive, and we get some topless makeout sessions, we get a shower scene, or a bath scene, there's some nudity on the beach, and some bare-ass beating. Not too bad. But I wouldn't say the film is perfect. Like a kidnapper looking for some kicks in a dungeon, it has some shortcomings. Well, one thing that might turn people off is how profoundly stupid these guys are as criminals. I mean, Carl is convinced they won't get caught because there's no motive, and he does have a point. It is very hard for people to get caught when there is no motive for a crime. But the trick to that is the victim has to be random, and theirs isn't. They were introduced to her by her landlady. I mean, obviously she knows who they are. If they let her go, it would be, trivial for the police to then find these guys. Like, what the hell were they thinking? That's like the very opposite of random. But profoundly stupid people doing profoundly stupid and immoral things doesn't really bother me in movies. I mean, have you ever talked to people profoundly stupid and immoral? This is realism. But on the filmmaking side of things, some of the acting here is pretty bad, particularly that landlady. Wow, like watching her scene, that's kind of torturous. Luckily it's short. But overall, I can't really complain too much. A super low-budget film turns out to be actually a film that you can watch, and it's pretty interesting. And, it's a important, well, importance maybe exaggerating too much. It is a part of exploitation cinema history. I'll say that much.